They're leaving next week. This old jeans.
Check. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the May 25th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I'm President Matt Busick, and it dawned on me, May 25, 1985 was the day I graduated high school. So, I think we need to, a little round of applause. May 25, 1985. Okay, I'd like to welcome several guests to the Rotary Club of Des Moines this week. If you could please each stand as I call your name. We'd like to welcome you. So first of all, Tam Cow. Tam is here with us. Tam, I think everyone may remember this, but she was one of our scholarship recipients and is here today to provide the moment of inspiration. So thank you for being here, Tam. And Tam has a friend, Maeve. Maeve, if you could stand and give everybody a quick nod. Maeve is here with Tam for moral support, I understand. Good. John Parrish is here from Caldwell Parish Funeral Home, guest of Susan Scharnberg. Welcome. Cassie Kilgore is here, Community Engagement Coordinator at International Rescue Committee, here as a guest of Chris Anderson. Welcome. Peg Schilling is spouse of Carl Schilling, and we're very happy to have you today, Peg. Thank you for being here. Okay, the next one is tough because it's Christine Hensley. Does anybody know who that is? Christine Hensley, please stand. Former member of the Rotary Club of Des Moines, former All Things City Council, retired and happy. I'm glad to have you again, Christine. Thank you for being here. And then Laura Cannon is here, principal of Horizon Science Academy, guest of our speaker, Chris. It's tumbler time. We ask those of you who do not have a dollar sign on your badge to make a donation of $5 to our foundation. Thank you for supporting the Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation. Yes, I am adding it. Yes, Gordon, it's good to have you back. Inflation being what it is, it's $5 now. Where in the world have I been? As you know, this is one of my favorite parts of the program. I got to take a trip to Bosnia with Graham Gillette and his family. Here I am at the Una National Park in the northwest corner of Bosnia-Herzegovina. This is the Martin Brod Waterfalls, among many breathtaking sights that Graham and family got to see. For those of you who are outbound on a trip, please take a flat mat with you, and I do love to travel. It's always fun to see where you've been and where I've been, and everybody likes to hear from you on your trips. You can check out flat mats and mats on a stick from Kitty through the Rotary Club of Des Moines office. Happy birthday to Al Gross. Al can't be with us today, so those of you who know Al well and those of you who don't, reach out and give him a hard time for getting a little older. Today's moment of inspiration, as I've already said, is going to be delivered by Tam in just a minute. After Tam is finished, Scott Bennett will be here to introduce our guest speaker. And Tam, when you're done, just we're going to move through the Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test. Are you comfortable doing that, or would you like me to get back up and do that? I'll sort of lead you through it. Come on up, Tam. Give a nice warm Rotary welcome to Tam.
So good afternoon, Rotarians. So first of all, I just want to say that this is my honor to be here today. My name is Tam Cow, and I graduated from Hoover High School. By saying that, I just feel like time flies so fast, because I remember 5 years ago when I was a junior in high school, I am full of doubt about myself and my ability to attend college. Because at that time, America was pretty new to me, and I didn't speak much English, so I struggling a lot with like communication. So kind of people around me or like my classmates, they kind of like give me the expectation that I wouldn't be able to do well or be able to be success in the future because I did not speak English well. And beside that, my family also having like the financial instability because we just moved to America, and even though my parents, they work really hard, but because they didn't speak English, so they didn't get paid well. And because of that, I never mentioned to my parents about like my education because I know that they wouldn't be able to like help me pay for college. But I know that coming to America was the choice that my parents made because they want me to have like a better future and better education system. So because of that, I tried really hard. I put all my effort in like studying day to night with the hope that I could get better at English and get a good grade in order for myself to like become a better student. And because my hope at that time is to get as much as scholarship as possible because at that time I believe that that's what the only way for me to have a chance to go to college. And so my hard work finally paid off when I received like the first scholarship, which is your scholarship, the Rotary Scholarship. And with your first scholarship, it was the first sign that let me know that, oh, I actually do have a chance to go to college. And later on, with my good GPA, Grandview University also provide me like a good amount of scholarship. And together, like my school scholarship and your scholarship, together, I do not have to worry about like how to pay for college. And I have an incredible opportunity to attend college for free. So I just want to let you know that, you know, like I appreciate it a lot. And I believe that without your scholarship, I would not have, I don't know, I just want to say that, you know, like your scholarship have made a good impact on my life because among of like other students out there, you could have been choosing, but you chose me, so you give me a chance to like attend college. So at that moment, I make a promise to myself that I would not make you disappointed, and I will show you that I deserve your scholarship. So again, I tried really hard. I put all my effort in like to fulfill my promise. So I actually overcame the challenges such as like language barrier, people expectations, stress, like imbalance between work and school. And I finally graduated from Grandview University with an honor roll, and I even make it to the highest distinction with the summa cum laude. And I became the first generation in my family that graduated with the college degree. So I honestly believe that without your scholarship, I would not have come this far. And because you helped me realize that no matter where I came from, or no matter my background or my circumstances, nothing could stop me from achieving what I wanted, as long as I keep moving forward, believe in myself, and try the best that I can. And the good people out there like you were willing to lend a hand to support and help us move toward to our true potential. So I just want to say that I appreciate it a lot, and allow me to share a little bit about my future plans. So I just graduated with a bachelor degree in science. My dream is to becoming a dentist. So I'm actually working toward my dream right now. So I'm actually fulfilling my shadowing hour, and also reviewing and studying for the DAT, which is like the dental admission test. Hopefully I could get into a dental school and becoming a dentist one day. So my hope and my dream is to get back to our community, so to help like those in need with the dental care. Addressing my lack of dental care when I first arrived to America. Because I know that I understand, and I learned this from you, that it's always important to get back to our community to make a meaningful impact. So once again, thank you so much for everything, for providing me this scholarship. And lastly, I wish you all the best in life. Thank you.
Well, Rotary Club of Des Moines, you're making an impact. Thank you, Tam. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Please greet those around you.
Hi, welcome. Great to see you. Thank you for coming. Hey, Art. All right, we'll keep it rolling here. And again, my name is Scott Bennett, and I just want to put in again thank you, Tim, for doing that. And I know we gave the speech when we gave the money out before the students that are going to be going through the same things that you went through for school. But it's great to see the end result. And again, as Matt said, how we impacted it. Everybody in here impacted because we all contribute to the foundation. And so anyway, great thing. I also wanted to put a quick plug in for the flat mat. I think you're going to see my picture next week. And it's amazing what a conversation starter that is. That we were making some, and people came up. And of course, the flat Stanley, he comes up and knows a flat mat, and just how we were able to have a conversation with people from a different place. So anyway, thank you, Matt, for that. So today I have the honor of introducing Dr. Chris Murphy of Concept Schools as our speaker today. Dr. Murphy is helping to bring a tuition-free, non-selective public school, Horizon Science Academy Des Moines, to our city this fall, along with longtime Des Moines resident Roger Brooks and Sonny Richard. Chris is based in Chicago, area where he lives with his wife Mary and 2 children. He's steeped in the field of education with an academic history that includes an undergraduate degree from Illinois State, a master's degree in education from DePaul and Northeastern Illinois University, and a doctorate in education from National Louis University. He also has taught science at the high school level in the Chicago public school system and served as a principal in the Chicago suburbs. He currently serves as the Chief Strategic Growth and Communications Officer for Concept Schools, which he joined in 2016. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Chris Murphy.
Thank you all, Rotarians. I appreciate your time today, and kudos on getting through the job title. When Chief Strategic Growth and Communications Officer, it's really hard to say. So in the PR world, I don't recommend that you come up with a title like that. So thank you again. I really appreciate your time today, and all to the guests and all the Rotarians as well. And Tao, congratulations to you, and to Maddie as well, your friend, for being here as well. We appreciate you being here. And I wanted to take a time just to talk a little bit about something that's very interesting and exciting to us at Concept Schools, and also that's new and exciting that we're bringing back an educational choice to the city of Des Moines. There are some outstanding schools already in the Des Moines area. We're looking to add more value to that by bringing one more free and public choice to all of the families in the city here. So to start off with, let's take a trip down the road here a bit, right? So my parents' generation, they were moving to Iowa specifically in the early 90s because it was one of the best states in the nation when it came to K-12 education. It was ranked number 3 for a long time. It was a place to go. People were coming here specifically for those schools. Well, the educational funding kind of stayed about average for the last 20, 30 years or so. However, the performance of the state has dipped just a bit. It's kind of fallen back towards that middle of the pack. And this is based right now on some of the national scores from the nation's report card. And today, if we look at some of the 8th grade scores of our students, only about 1/3 of the 8th grade students today are proficient in both reading and mathematics, and that's across the whole state. And it's even more alarming when we start thinking about family members and students that are of low income. Less than 20% of the students that are graduating 8th grade are proficient in both reading and mathematics. That's fairly alarming, and that's something that we can do better on. This is something that we can improve upon. And again, these are statewide statistics. Again, there are lots of schools that are doing much better than this, but there are some schools that are doing worse than this. And so it's an opportunity for us to consider how we can help support. So why are we thinking about a charter school in Des Moines? What's so important about this particular city in particular? And so this is a map here, just the general region. I want you to kind of consider where you are and orient yourself within that space and start thinking about where are these orange areas? What neighborhoods do these look like? Who lives in these types of communities for the most part? And let's think about that currently right now within Des Moines Public Schools, about 1/3 of the schools are qualifying as needs improvement or high priority schools. And that's based on state tests. State assessments are saying that these schools themselves are struggling a little bit, but it's still a minority, right? That's only about 1/3. That means 2/3 of the schools are doing great. Schools across the regions there in the northwest corner, the northeast area, way down in the southeast corner, those schools are outstanding. Elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. Families are excited to attend those traditional neighborhood public schools, and we're thrilled for that. But there are some schools that are struggling repeatedly. And so in this orange area, this is where we're finding a high concentration of schools that are historically struggling. Year over year, these are schools that are being recognized as needs improvement or high priority. So that's something that my organization and my team helps to look for. We look to see where there could be some pockets of area in urban areas that might have trends, historical trends of struggling schools within larger school systems that are doing quite well. And so one other piece that changed was in 2021. Governor signed a new law that changed the way that the charter school law was written. And many of you will remember that there have been charter schools in Des Moines. Some of you probably had meetings with some of those folks about the Des Moines Charter School Project about 10 years ago. There was a change in the law, though, that made it so you did not have to work with directly a local school district. The law changed so now you can have an independent school board that would be held accountable to the State Board of Education, so you would not have to have a direct relationship with the local school board, like Des Moines Public Schools. And that's one thing that's very unique for us, and that was interesting to my organization, a nonprofit, that we can work with the state agency and sort of work separately in to the side of from a local school district. We spent a lot of time last year meeting with different family members, meeting with neighborhood associations, meeting with a number of community groups, talking about the prospects of bringing a new free charter school to the city here. And there was overwhelming support from a number of people, from politicians to business leaders to families themselves, even to the neighborhoods themselves. They are looking for another choice, another opportunity. And that's what we're here for. Horizon Science Academy is a new, free choice that is open to all students within the Des Moines Public Schools area. No tuition, there's no selective criteria. It is an open school. And that's by definition what a charter school is. Just by its purest definition, it is open to all students. You cannot select your students. If you have space, they can enroll. You cannot exclude anyone. And it's also tuition free, meaning it's funded directly from the state, which is what we will be. So a charter school for us means it's an opportunity to be more flexible and have increased autonomy with how we're addressing student needs. So it lets us have a small school, it lets us really focus on some of the differentiated needs that we need to provide for our students to ensure that they're getting the skills and the talents needed to be successful later in life. So let's talk about school choice a little bit as well. There have been some other legislative changes in the state which relate to school choice, which are not necessarily related to charter schools. So typically, when you're looking for a school, you're looking for a home, and this is now, I'm looking at the room here, this is maybe your grandkids are starting to enroll in some schools, or maybe your children are starting to buy a house in an area where they're looking at schools. It's all very important. You look at the school systems and where they're all at. And so typically, you have this kind of a choice. Wherever your neighborhood is, that's the elementary school down the road. Some of you went to Roosevelt, right? You graduated. How many people graduated from Roosevelt here? Several of you, right? So that was your neighborhood high school. That was the choice. That's what you had. That is a public school choice. Private schools down on the bottom side here, many of you in this room and many people that I've met have the ability to put their children through a private school. It's an option. It's one form of school choice. Charter schools are just another form of school choice. Some other options that you might have heard in the past couple of years are things like homeschooling. So as we came out of the pandemic, a lot of families started to pull their students out of traditional schools and giving them homeschooling opportunities. Sometimes they would combine them into larger groups and kind of create little pods. And that's a very common structure where you would have a certified teacher essentially running a homeschool program for several students. It's a choice, it's an option. These are all things that families can do. Magnet schools are another opportunity. A magnet school is a public school, but they have criteria that you have to meet in order to get into it. So in Chicago, where I come from, some of the top schools in CPS, Whitney Young High School, Walter Payton College Prep, they're traditional public schools, part of the Chicago school system, but you have to meet a certain test level to get in. You have to read at a certain level, you have to perform in a certain way, you have to perform on a test. So it's not open to all students. That's the difference there. So with a charter school, you have the opportunity to provide that highly skilled and highly differentiated instructional program for students to all students without that level of entrance criteria. So which brings us to our program and our plan here. So I met a couple of individuals, Sonny Richard and Roger Brooks, a little over a year ago through a mutual friend. And we connected just talking about schools and what we can do. And this is already after the fact that the charter law had changed. We've already started to look at Des Moines as a potential opportunity for us to maybe look into opening up a charter school, working with the group. And Sonny and Roger were just thrilled with the opportunity of working with the charter school. They visited one of our schools in Chicago, Horizon Science Academy, McKinley Park. It's a K-12 school in the McKinley Park area. It's almost predominantly Latino families, mostly low-income families. But it's also the #1 public charter school in the state of Illinois, not just for the elementary school, not just for the middle school, but also for its high school curriculum and programming. That's not unique. Many of our schools are performing at really, really high levels when it comes to those state and national rankings. Sonny and Roger, we had further conversations about how we could proceed into this, and they were instrumental in then introducing me and my organization with some of the individuals that you probably know as well. And we were able to form a school board here, which brings us to Christine Hensley, who is the school board chair for Horizon Science Academy Des Moines. And just through general connections, you know how she works. She's just an amazing individual that can open doors in such innovative ways, and we're absolutely thrilled to have her in this position to support this school project. But without her, we would probably not have had these other key individuals, these great leaders, these innovative thinkers that can bring support and accountability and credibility to our school from a local standpoint. And that brings us to our school. We already have signed a lease at the old Franklin Junior High School building. We're doing renovations at this location. It's up at 48th and Franklin, up on the north side. So we are going to be on the second floor to host our student enrollment. It is a 5-year lease, which coincides with the charter school agreement, which we approved, was unanimously approved earlier this school year. So we're going to be there for the next 5 years, and we're going to grow into this space. Our target enrollment for this coming fall, we're supporting kindergarten through 3rd grade. We'll look to expand each year over year by adding 1 grade level and about 50 students each year, ultimately to support the education for a K-12 school. We'll fit them all here. We're talking about 650 students maybe by 2033. So that's the first graduating class, the class of 33. 650 students, that's roughly 2.5% of the population of Des Moines Public Schools. So it's a small number when we think about the big number of students that are involved in schooling here in Des Moines. But it's just an opportunity for those families to try something different that they feel is the best opportunity for them. A little bit about myself and our organization, Concept Schools. We are what's known as a charter management organization. We're a nonprofit 501c3 group. We're based out of Schaumburg, like you had heard. So we're right by O'Hare, and we're a centralized group that in our building, we have a team of academic directors that writes curriculum, that connects with the state agencies, like in this case, the Iowa State Board of Education, to make sure that the curriculum is aligned, making sure that the assessments we're providing meet the state standards and state expectations. And also we provide all of the back-end services that you would see in any traditional school district. We have superintendents, the finance, the payroll, benefit structures, all of those come from our offices. That allows the school itself to focus on what's important, teaching and learning of children. So all the back-end services we do, that's what we do. The charter school does not have to have a management company like ours. They can do the work on their own, provided they have the skill set that provides all the academics and all the financial support and all the back-end operations. And some do it well. Some have that opportunity, and they can do that without a group like ourselves. We're fairly large. Come fall, we'll have 34 schools, all in the Midwest. All of our cities are very similar to Des Moines: Columbus, Dayton, Indianapolis, Chicago, St. Paul. Similar populations. We'll have about 14,000 students total next year. About 85% of our students are Black and African American or Latino, Hispanic. About 90% of them qualify for low-income fundraising and for free and reduced school lunch programming. So we're working with minority families, we're working with low-income families, and yet we're providing such great results for these students that for every year that one student is enrolled in one of our schools, for every 1 year, they receive an average of 1.2 years of academic growth. So we're taking the disadvantaged families, we're taking students that come with gaps in their understanding and their learning, and we're accelerating that faster than the traditional public schools in which they might have otherwise enrolled in. And last year, and this is a little dated because this is a class of 2022, but last year about 97% of our students graduated and received a entrance into a college or university, and almost $40 million were brought in by merit-based scholarships. This year that number is closer to about $44 million. So our graduates, and I met about 13 of them, I understand that you guys brought in some great high school graduates just recently here, and you honored them. It was just a really heartwarming experience for many of you in this room. I met about 13 of our graduates that came from all of our graduating schools or high schools. These are students that are first-generation families. These are students that are going to Princeton, going to Harvard, double scholarships, pre-med people. These are individuals that are truly going to come back to their families and make a big difference, not only with their household, but also within their communities as well. We try to find those opportunities and pathways for our students to be successful. A couple of our schools have received recognition by the United States Department of Education as National Blue Ribbon Schools of Excellence. And like I said before, many of our schools are recognized as top schools by U.S. News and World Report. From an organizational standpoint, I think this might be helpful to kind of see where this all fits into it, because a charter school is new in this structure. The way that the charter law was written, it allows for an independent board, which is Chris again as the chair, for that board to be the whole level of accountability. They are the one group that's in charge. They have a contract, a charter, with the State Board of Education to operate as a school. So those are the two key players. The State Board of Education on the top left side over here is the charter school authorizer. So that is the group, the state group that is authorizing the school to operate. That's where the charter is, that's where the actual piece of paper lies. You can be a school. The school board then has an agreement over on the right-hand side with Concept to serve as that management group. So we then provide all of the back-end services and support. At the school level, it looks and feels like any traditional school you've ever went into. And so the school board hired Laura Cannon, who is a former Des Moines Public Schools principal and teacher, longtime Des Moines resident as well. And she is the leader, the instructional leader and full operator of the school once those doors open up. And it just looks like everything else, with grade levels and administrative teams, assistant principals. The school day looks and feels very similar. The only thing that's different is just the top end stuff, the adult conversations that have to happen. So the authorizer holds the school board accountable for its financial success. It holds the school accountable for its academic success and goals that it sets. And at the same time, the school board is going to hold us accountable at Concept to make sure that we're doing what we say we're going to do, to help make sure that the school has all the resources and all the supports it needs to be successful. What we do at Concept as our program develops and grows, we provide a STEM-focused and college preparation education. So we focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The students that we typically attract are those that are interested in robotics and engineering and computer programming. We do have some varsity sports in some of our schools, but it's not typically the type of student that is interested in that kind of a model. We're open to it. We're open to that flexibility, to providing different programs and sports and clubs. It just depends on what the school is looking for. We do have flexibility with that model to support Laura and Ms. Cannon and her team to give what our kids need. Our department will provide her teachers and staff all sorts of job-embedded professional development. She's already been to our offices in Schaumburg, met with our academic directors. Our academic directors will be in transit, coming to Des Moines often. They'll have a lot of Zoom conferences and web conferences with the teachers to make sure that they're well versed in the curriculum, they understand the best teaching practices, and they're talking about best strategies to support student learning. We provide a lot of different academic competitions for our students because, again, we're looking for high academic rigor for our students. We're trying to provide unique opportunities for our students to be successful, and that also means providing academic competitions. And so we offer a lot of science fairs, we offer a number of robotics competitions. We also organize a mathematics competition online, which just earlier in May, we had about 1,000 students travel to Chicago for a MathCon national finals. Then those were the top students from about 30,000 students that participated online nationwide. And so we're all about trying to find ways to give kids different opportunities to excel academically. Specifically about the school, what you can look forward to seeing come next fall, Horizon Science Academy Des Moines, it's now currently enrolling. We're looking for kindergarten through 3rd grade, and we are looking for a target enrollment of about 190 students. That's what our sort of benchmark number is. And hearing from Laura just this morning, we were right around 110 students as of today. And so we're well on our way to meet our goals for enrollment. We've already changed our sort of approach where we were thinking about having maybe just 2 sections of kindergarten, 2 sections at 1st grade, but we're actually going to have 3 sections of kindergarten because there's so much interest with those young families and those young students to try something new, try something different. And so that's telling us that many of the students that are enrolling have not already enrolled in a Des Moines public school. They're not coming from another school, they're just starting off with something fresh. Our tuition-free program, it's open to all, so the only requirement, again, is that you have to live within the Des Moines Public Schools attendance zone. I think you know better than I do that there's a region of the northwest part of Des Moines that they don't go to Des Moines Public Schools, right? They're part of a different school district. And so those folks, that slim little piece would not be eligible. But that's it. Anybody else that fits within the Des Moines Public Schools attendance area can enroll within our school. We have small class sizes. At kindergarten, we're capping those sections at 20 students. All the other grade levels we cap at 25. That's important for a lot of reasons. As a former principal and a former classroom teacher, having a small class allows you to develop a really strong, meaningful connection, not only with your student, but that student's family and their parents. It allows you to really develop the relationships at home. We encourage and, in fact, expect all of our staff members to conduct home visits with our family members to develop a true sympathetic and empathetic relationship to meet our families' needs, to truly understand what they need in order to be successful at the school, to develop a great relationship. Truly, it's a very traditional field. You're all welcome to come in when we start school next fall. It's going to look like a regular class day. There's bells, it'll transition. Kids have their regular classes. We have a little longer day, so it's maybe about an extra 45 minutes than a typical day. The school year starts about a week earlier than traditional schools. It's extended by maybe about a week or so into the summer than a traditional school. Little longer school year, little longer school day, but that means more time for instruction. It means more time students are in a safe space in a school where they're protected and they're led by great instructional leaders. The curriculum, core subjects, everything's included: science, social studies, history, fairly traditional state curriculum that has a spin with STEM focus. All the special classes are available as well, so students will have art and music, PE, so we have access to a beautiful gym at Franklin, which we can't wait to roll the balls out for the kids. And then ultimately, too, all the students that require special education or ELL services, they're welcome as well. We will have partnerships with some of we'll have hiring staff for the schools, but we'll also have partnerships with the community as well to provide additional resources if need be. All the staff must be certified by the state, and so are administrators. And so that was also extremely important, not only to the state as the authorizer group, we have to have certified teachers. And on top of that, we wanted to make sure that as we're a new group that we offer competitive salaries and competitive benefits. And we can say that our average starting salary for a first-year teacher is more than what a Des Moines Public Schools teacher would start off with. And we're also very fortunate, we just learned about 2 months ago that we're able to have our teachers remain with IPERS, the Iowa Pension Retirement System Plan. So our teachers can remain with IPERS, they can stay within that. Some of our other schools, we work with our finance team, they develop different benefits packages, but in this case, they will remain with IPERS. And so while we're here today, just want to kind of bend your ear a little bit about it, talk a little bit about our opportunity, and if there's just one thing that I'd ask you to kind of take away from today, it's just to remember that charter schools are tuition free and they're open to all students. They're free and open to all. Free schools that are open. Why we're here though specifically now is to talk about some of our budgets and realities. So our school budget, we have about a $2 million revenue budget that we're looking at for next year, and that's based on our student enrollment projections. Again, we said we're looking at about 190 students, and all of our funding comes from the state directly. It does not come from Des Moines Public Schools. We do not receive local tax dollars. We do not receive property tax dollars from Des Moines either. It comes directly from the state on a per pupil basis, which is about $7,700 for next fall. We'll receive some federal funding for different grants for special education and ELL, and that's what brings us up to about that $2 million mark. But again, that's if everything goes perfect. We also receive $0 as a school in startup funding. So right now, we're in an operating budget year with 0. So this is fiscal year 23. Well, there is no budget, there is no revenue. We don't expect any money from the state until the fiscal year 24 starts, and that funds won't come until probably about October. That's based on student projections, and that's normal. That's not anything that's crazy. It's just you don't have that startup capital. You don't have anything right now to get the school rolling. So the school is functioning on a zero interest loan from Concept. So we provided $400,000 to start up, and that's helping with salaries, that's helping with rent, that's helping with paint, carpet, ordering desks, ordering textbooks. Anything you can imagine in a school that you have to have, well, you got to order that stuff, and you have to have funding for it. And so we're able to support that, and we're able to get this going here to get the school started by fall. Our enrollment projections over the next few years make this a very financially viable option. So as we add 50 students for each year, year over year, we will be in a very green place. We'll be able to support the student and different programming as things move forward. But there are ways in which you can support and ways you can sponsor. And so if you are interested in that, whether it's personally with your time or an organization, love to have a further conversation with you. But please know that, again, our operating budget is working if everything goes perfect. Many of you, I'm sure, have been entrepreneurs. You've started companies, you've started businesses, you've worked with people that have started businesses. Working with that perfect ideal is a scary place, and we're in that right now. So we're walking through the school just even this week right now. We have all the things ordered, but the school's quiet. We don't have people painting. We don't have people that are tearing up the carpet just yet. The whiteboards aren't being installed, but we know it's going to happen. So we're in this kind of the doldrums right now. But it doesn't shy away from our excitement, and it doesn't shy us away from everything that we're looking forward to, providing that great opportunity for our students. And so lastly here again, I just wanted to introduce again Horizon Science Academy Des Moines. And thank you. Yes, sir.
My question would be, during the discussion of the charter legislature, we heard the discussion about what happens to public schools when charters come in, what happens to their quality and their ability to teach. What's been the experience in some other communities on that?
So the question, if I paraphrase it, is with the new charter school, what's the impact on traditional public schools?
Yes.
Enrollment, finance, anything? Sure. So,
Well, quality of education, basically.
well, quality of education, I think, is a good place. Let's start with that. So our students, like I've described to you already, for every 1 year that the students are enrolled in one of the Concept Network schools, they're achieving 1.2 years of academic growth. That's because we're pulling a small select portion of students out of other school options. That means that those class sizes do go down a little bit. But if you, again, you think about, we have 110 students that are coming in right now that have registered. Almost half of those students were kindergarten students. We're not pulling students from Des Moines Public Schools. We're not pulling them. This is just a new choice for them. And even if those class sizes go down by 1 or 2 students, they're coming from all zip codes across Des Moines. They're not coming from any one particular region. They're coming from everywhere. So that means that that class size is going to decrease by 1 or 2 students. That allows more opportunities for those teachers to develop those meaningful relationships that are in that traditional school. And ultimately, what schools like myself do is we try our best to develop great relationships with large school systems, share programming, share ideas. And one of our schools in Cleveland, for instance, Horizon Science Academy Cleveland High School, has in the past had a great relationship with Cleveland Public Schools. Teachers collaborate on best practice on STEM education. In Rogers Park in Chicago's North Side, we also have a program of STEM and robotics, which they're partnering with a local school that is developing their program called Roosevelt High School. And that school right there has a robotics program that is mirroring our school in Chicago. So we try and find ways in which we can support one another. Because at the end of the day, they're all of our students. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for being here today. This is very exciting to hear about. Can you help us understand how your school board will be determined going forward? You have a fabulous group now. How does that happen going forward?
Sure, thank you. And so the question's about the school board makeup and the future of that school board. And so the charter school allows, with the state legislation, and I'll paraphrase this, so please don't quote me on it. As a founding group, you can identify your first board members. And then within that, you have to identify your bylaws, just like any other nonprofit incorporated organization. And within those bylaws, they had to specify how long those terms would be and how long and what they would do for board elections. And so they will be open elections. The terms are scattered and spread over a few years, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. And they wanted to scatter them so that way there would be strong consistency on the board, but they would alternate and they would be open and free to everybody. And there is an expectation from the board to have a parent join that school board as well. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. Yes, sir.
If you have more students apply than you have space, how do you handle that?
Yeah, that would be a good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
So the question is if you have more students than are available. And so by the charter law itself, you have to have a lottery.
Okay.
And so it just simply is that. And so a lottery is essentially where at a certain date, and we already had that particular date for us, which is end of March, I think, March 30th or 31st. And so if you reach that certain number, then you would pull back those numbers as interested, and you just have a lottery for that space. Yes, sir.
You were saying that your students improve more than in public schools. How do you do that? What goes on in your school that they're not doing in, say, Park Avenue?
Yeah, so you're asking about the secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there's, I don't know, how many ingredients in KFC? 17, right? So with schooling, there are some very specific structures and practices in which we employ. First and foremost, it's relationships. I think that is the most important thing and one of the most high quality things that we can do that are different. Speaking as a former large public school teacher in Chicago Public Schools, I taught at Roberto Clemente Community Academy in Humboldt Park, division in Western Chicago, 2,200 kids, mostly Puerto Rican first-generation families. This guy, we didn't connect right away. And so understanding those relationships and really trying to establish them, not only with the kids, but their families and developing empathetic relationships, just means that you're in this together. And I think that really translates well to holding students accountable in the classroom. Everybody has ability. It's the accountability thing that we fall back on often within large public school systems. So relationships are key, but we also provide a lot of different curricular opportunities. It's a curriculum that's designed to be engaging. We offer a lot of whole group discussion. It's a balance between student product, student community engagement. A number of our programs, we have one that's called Concept Young Scholars Program, which gets kids out of the school, developing leadership opportunities within their community. And so it's not just about the school itself. It's not about just the classroom. There's so many ways for us to engage with their families and the community and for our students to excel outside that it just builds this rapport of trust and it builds a rapport of success. Yes, sir.
How are you going to manage your library?
How are we going to manage the library? Great question. We were just talking about walking through the school just the other day. We've got a room which we're arguing about which room it's going to be. I want the bigger one. We'll get through there. But we already in our budget, we've ordered something like, it was a number of, oh my gosh, how many books? 27 books per student, I think, was the goal. So we're ordering books, it's built into our budget. We'll have a free library for all of our students. And typically how those school libraries are built out, I'm not a purchase manager in how the textbooks or how the library books go, but you buy in bulk. You buy a package of those books. We're not going title by title or anything like that. We go by what's called a Lexile rating, which is the age appropriateness of a book, and quantity based on a bulk order in that sense. So we'll outfit that library based on that bulk order as soon as possible. And we're also going to have, it's going to be a large media center. We'll have computers as well. Students can have access to research materials. And we will have a certified staff member in there overseeing that as part of one of those specials classes kids can rotate through.
So you have a variety of books? You know where I'm going, don't you?
No, tell me more about it.
Well, because I personally believe that people are getting involved in education and should stay the hell out of education, and banning books and so forth. And so that's, you know, will they have resources to be educated?
So I know what you're asking. I do. I can be political about it. I cannot. I don't know you all that well. So let's go have a drink and I can tell you really what I think and what's really going to happen. But I will say this, that we are open, we are flexible. We don't subscribe to one sort of political ideology. We don't bring in any sort of religious aspects to our schools at all. None of that will apply. We want to make sure that our students have a well-rounded education that's heavily based in STEM and science and mathematics.
Thank you.
Chris, that have to be it. Thank you so
Folks,
much.
I'll be happy to stick around afterwards if you have a couple of questions.
Sorry to cut it short, Chuck, but Chris will stick around for any of you who didn't get your questions answered. Thank you for your time today, Chris. And Chris, that's easy. Chris squared. Laura, good luck with everything that you're doing. It's anything that we can do to bend the curve of helping educate our youth is what we need to be exploring. So thank you for that. As a token of our appreciation, we're giving a book in your honor, Chris. to the Des Moines Public Library. Your book will become part of the Rotary Rosie Reader Van Collection. This traveling library has reached hundreds of readers across Des Moines since 2020, when our club donated $40,000 for its purchase. Hundreds of readers. As you consider the following upcoming meetings, please think about who you know who would be an outstanding addition to our club and bring them as your guests. You and your guests need to be RSVP'd through Kitty, either online or in person, by 9 a.m. on Wednesday, so that we can have the right table settings. And we appreciate you being here next week especially. Next week's program is a good one for